Thank you very much for allowing me to give you a haircut. This is the first time cutting your hair, you know.
Actually, I mean,
yes.
What an honor, man, to find the legend himself.
No, but I've known you for so long. Right? It's been a while. It's been a while, but it's such an honor, and thank you very much for allowing us into your space. It definitely makes a big difference. I am looking forward to this conversation, and I'm looking forward to sharing this with each and every person out there, because I definitely believe that what you have done has been really amazing. And for a boy that comes out of a township like mine in Alex, it's really something that you don't hear every day. It's not the story that you'll hear every day. Just take me through that journey. Just tell me exactly.
Yeah, I think for me, thank you, Sheldon, for an amazing, yet humbling intro.
Thank you.
I'm equally humbled to have you here and have this conversation with you. And yeah, where do I start, man? I believe that more than anything, I am a product of opportunity.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because throughout my journey, I've been awarded great opportunities that have somewhat contributed to the man and the leader that I am now, you know, and hence, we do what we do at Bathu, right?
Yes.
To be a point of light, to pass it on to others, to reignite hope and create sustainable jobs for others, and create opportunities for others, because I'm a product of exactly that. I'm a product of leaders that came before me, who decided to pay it forward in their own way, and through their giving, I have become the man that I am today.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
But just the crazy thing is, I was actually in my community this morning, so I visited the school that I grew up in, and it humbles you knowing that you come from grassroots like this. I mean, like Alex is exactly it. You understand? Like if you drive into the township and you see exactly what's happening. Is that because that's not normal.
Yes, not.
If you look back and you're like, really, did I really come from here? And the same people that's sitting back home is sometimes the same faces that you pick up till today.
And it's, I always say this, that at the heart of our business and our mission to reignite hope and create sustainable jobs, we have and we understand the social ills in our communities. So oftentimes when you tap into or you watch current affairs, they talk about the state of affairs of the country, the global economy, and the townships in our country. And oftentimes you hear about the social ills that are in the townships. And to your question, we experienced those social ills at first hand, right? From the poverty to the crime, high rates of unemployment. We live and we've experienced those stats at first hand. And that is why for me, like I said, I had great opportunities to further my studies in accounting, an accountant by profession. I worked for a great firm, worked abroad. Then I thought to myself that, am I going to be the only one out of my community who has gotten these opportunities and support my family, or am I going to find it in me to come back home and try to do something about those social ills? And I'm quite humbled to say that through that decision to come back home and start a business that can create impact in my community, today through Bathu, we've got so many other young Theos who work for Bathu, who are now a point of light to many others, and that dream did not only start and end in Alex, but it has transcended beyond Alex borders and into SADC as a whole, and obviously soon into the globe. So it's quite humbling, and with that said, we want to encourage more people to do that, and we also have a responsibility to empower the next entrepreneur as well.
Which I think if you look at it much more than anything else, we look at how many people you employ, and sometimes people just look at a number, but you don't look at behind the scenes what's going on at home, because that person empowers people that's sitting at home as well. So you see the ripple effect that it actually has. And it actually puts so much responsibility on you as a leader each and every day.
Absolutely, you know, and I think for me personally, that's what leadership is all about, right? Being able to somewhat build a platform, or a platform that can create opportunities for others, or try to live your life in a way, or lead your business in a way that someone can look at it, whether, you know, directly or indirectly, and feel the need to do something, you know, about it. And that is why, about their life or their talent or their potential, right?
Yes.
And that's what leadership is about. And we ought to do it responsibly, you know?
Yes.
And if you can do that to, you know, 2 people, you know, to 5 people, if you can do it, you know, to the people that you lead internally in the company, they look at you and how you live your life. I mean, just, you know, before we started, I was saying how, you know, I've started this health journey because I've seen how great you've done, you know, which is, you know, a demonstration of leadership in a way, because I look at a fellow leader who decided to change their life and take their health more serious. And I look at that and go like, we ought to do this, you know? So yeah, you know, I think collectively we can build better societies if we lead with that approach.
Yeah, and I think many of the times people look at just doing a business, but they don't see the leadership element that accompanies it. Because I think that the leadership is what makes the company either thrive in difficult circumstances
100%.
and circumstances where you find yourself and people looking up to you as a leader. That actually defines who you are, because when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You understand? It's just one of those things. But just looking at it, because I know you for many years, and one thing that I've seen is that the leadership qualities that you possess is much more humility, servant leadership. How did that come about? Was it just...
I mean, I think it's just basically the ethos and the values that we're, you know, brought up by in our communities, right? So, you know, in a village, you know, raises a child. So where we come from, we were taught one thing, you know, humility, right? And to always be of service, you know. And I always say this, that, you know, greatness comes from being of service, you know, Sheldon, if I tell you this. And I think a lot of people miss that. People chase the cool factor, the vanity, what seems to be cool. And they don't understand that, you know, the reality is this, and I say this with utmost humility. After 35 years, you know, no one will remember who was cool. No one will remember who was #1 at this, who was trained at this. But there's a saying that says, people will never forget how you make them feel. You know, you go to a coffee shop and the coffee is horrible, but the waiter is amazing. You will forever remember, you know, the service that you've gotten from the waiter. And chances are you go back to the same spot for the horrible coffee. The horrible coffee will taste nice after a while, right? So I think that's where it starts, you know. So you always ought to find purpose and sort of, you know, be people before profit. You know, before commercialization has to come, you know, service. And I think that's where sustainability comes from. Yes, at the heart of sustainability, there is profitability. But I think before that, you know, service comes before anything.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, like we've known many cool brands that has come into, especially in South Africa space. We've known cool brands that's come and gone. But the one thing people look for, and it's true what you say, it's like having that consistency in how you serve people. Because here we are today. I mean, like there's so many techies. There's so many Bathus that you created through the motivation and inspiration that you gave the others out there, you understand? Here's a Sheldon that started the Legends. There's so many barbers out there that's also doing it, you understand? But what sets them apart is exactly to your point, is having that ability to serve wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. And we at Bathu, we believe in that, you know? I mean, I always say this, that when we started the business, it was more of a passion project, #1. And that was rooted in being of service, right? But little did we know that we're actually building a monster of a business. You know, so what I'm trying to say is that you'd be surprised, you know, what service can do and what impact service can create when you're rooted in purpose and being of service. That even in unfavorable, economic times, you will be able to punch above the weight and build a sustainable business.
Oh yes, man. And I think we tend to forget that sometimes, because it's good to chase the cool factor right now. It's good to chase the what's trending right now. But if you're building something with longevity, you have to think about, like for example, like in this building that we are in today, you understand, you decided, you know what, I'm not going to just build something just to make it trend tomorrow or today. I'm going to build something because I want to build a continuous legacy. Was it intentional?
Yes. I mean, with that analogy, right? So coming from the communities that we come from, I always say that, at least one, all the townships has one or two general dealers.
Yes.
Those general dealers, they service the entire community.
Yes.
We buy bread there, we buy our quotas there, we buy our sugar there, we buy our milk there. But as soon as the father or the founder dies, the business closes down, right? We all know the Kumalos, that have 100 taxis, and they've got a corner house, and the kids go to private schools. The whole community and the whole township actually aspires to be like that family. But as soon as the founder and the father dies, the business dies. Similar to you and I, we started in a township, right? So you ought to be intentional. For me, I made a promise to myself and my community that we started in the Kasi, in the township. But we will never remain, forever remain a township business or a Kasi business. We're going to start this business, we're going to scale it, we're going to corporatize, and we're going to stand the test of time. And we're going to come back in different communities and create impact, right? So I was very intentional about what this little startup, as much as I was selling from the boot of my car and delivering pairs myself, I knew very well that I'm not going to end there. It's very important to corporatize the business, to put governance in place, and to scale the business. And with that discipline and focus, we have managed to build the Bathu that we have today.
I think majority of the guys struggle with that scale of the business. Because it's good to, but we're not talking about scale, it's just only in terms of the revenue, but we're talking in scale in terms of scaling it from a holistic point of view, in terms of how are we able to corporatize, get good governance in place to structure your business in such a way. How did you do that?
So it's a bit of, for me, right? I've been, like I said, I'm a product of opportunity. So the big part of that was, I think I attribute that to the skill set and the experience that I've had, while I was working for PwC. Right. So a great firm that I've worked for that has afforded me great opportunities, and I rotated within different competencies, right? From auditing to consulting, you name it, asset management and the likes. So around professional services. So that exposure helped me understand, the importance of structuring a business, the importance of managing my finances accordingly. But most importantly, at the heart of that experience, I learned, to balance my soft skills and my technical skills, which I then later deployed into my business, right? And in so doing, it meant that even when I was selling from the boot of my car, I was able to reinvest, the proceeds, into the right avenues of the business, right? And to do it strategically, to do it in the right time, to analyze my financial reporting or my finances accordingly and reinvest in the right pockets of the business, right? So scaling is one thing and growth is another thing, right? So you need to manage the art of scale. You equally need to manage the art of growth.
Growth as well.
Right? So I think it's so important to understand that. And I think people, when we talk about it, they almost make a mistake and think that it's a Theo thing. But tell you what, at Bathu, I'm just the guy who talks and tells the story. There's phenomenal people and the right professionals in the business that with the right skill set, better than mine, whom contribute to the scale and the growth of the business. That's right. And in corporatizing, there's no way that one person can do everything. Look, Sheldon, I'm just a numbers guy, I'm a finance guy. I'm not a retailer like that. I'm not a marketer, I'm not a brand guy. I had to find the right people to help me scale.
To help you scale, But in terms of that as well, because because in terms of the numbers as well, I think as an entrepreneur, how important is it for you to actually know your numbers?
Very important. You know, I always say this, that you almost need to know your numbers in your sleep.
Yes.
because numbers don't lie, you know, and numbers are so powerful that if you understand them well and you maintain them so well, it's amazing what they can do for you.
Yes.
You know, and I think sometimes when you talk growth and you talk scale and you talk, you know, the concept of compounding, you know,
yes,
or compound,
yes,
right? People think that it just happens at one go, but you realize that it's small efforts every day. It's managing your rents and cents every day, you know, before you get to the hundreds and the millions and so forth, right? So they're so important that you actually need to know where each cent or rand goes in your business, right? Because, you know, I was saying this to a friend the other day that, you know, business is so interesting that it costs you money in everything.
Yeah.
For the boom gate to open, it's money. for the building to exist, it's money. You know, for sugar, you know, when you're serving coffee, it's money. It's such an interesting thing, and when you look at it, right, when people in the eye, they don't see the money. They just see they just see the goods. But tell you what, brother, you know, to have that security at the boom gate there, you know,
it's money.
It's money, and people don't see that. They just see the vanity to say, oh, what a beautiful building. This guy's got boom gates. Beautiful reception. Oh, he's got an elevator in the building. You know? That's money. Those parking lots out there, and people see the cars parked out there, and they're like, oh, this is so beautiful. But it's money. So to your question, it's so important because everything in business costs money.
And that's and you know that's one of the principles where we see many of entrepreneurs fail. And it's and you know there's a verse that I love in the Bible in Luke 16 verse 10 that says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever can be faithful with very little can also be faithful with much, because you're able to sell that techie out of a boot, you understand, and you're counting that money, you see, and you're faithful with that little that you have. How much more when you have such a big place?
100%. And you know, you always hear, just to add on to what you're saying, you always hear people talk about their ambition, right? And they want to talk about how big the ambition is and how much impact they will create once they've got the money, right? And, you know, there's this concept of balancing reality and ambition. It's a good thing to be ambitious, but at the same time, you need to balance your reality. So what I'm saying is that the reality is that, you know, you can actually build something great and of great magnitude with the little that you have, right?
That's true.
So you don't actually need, you know, a whole lot of money to build something great. You know, you start with the little seed that you have. And then if you can do well with that, then it multiplies to be something bigger, which you can alternatively and collectively build something great, right? So people talk about, oh, we don't have funding, or I don't have money to do this. And we understand that money is important, but the little that you have, right, if you can reinvest it accordingly and take good care of it, then it can grow to become something greater, you know, and then you can use it well and you can build something great.
I like what you say. I like what you say with regarding the rands and cents, because we get so lost in the detail and you know, like I was speaking to another entrepreneur the other day, and he was saying, you know what, I'm only making so much amount of money, and I'm saying, you're not making that money. Your business is actually making so much amount of money. So you need to detach yourself 100%. From the business, because if you align yourself, that means that money is going to your pocket. And most of the time we have these things within our minds that we can just offset, just take from business. But how long are you to do that in order to suffocate the business for growth?
That's actually the quickest way to kill your business, right? For me, and I was saying this, I was having a conversation. Actually, I was speaking at an event this past weekend.
Oh, this past weekend, the one in Nelspruit.
In Nelspruit.
Yes, I saw.
And I said to the audience that, you know, the thing about building is that people always admire, or there's a saying that says people always like the idea of greatness, but hate the idea of risk and process. Because greatness has risk and greatness has process. So you ought to go through the process and ought to take the risk to build greatness, right?
That's true.
So to contextualize, and I was contextualizing it in this manner, that I used to sell, Bathu from the boot of my car, and this was without the right human capital process, without the right finance processes. So it literally take, an order, a box of shoes, give it to someone. They would give me money in cash, pay me in cash. And I would go to the ATM and deposit that, deposit that into the bank account. But when you look at the Bathu that we have today, it's so corporatized, and we've got the right finance control processes that we even have a 3-quota system for our stakeholders. But someone would look at that and just admire that without knowing that it didn't start like that.
It didn't start like that.
I used to take the money. So, for you to corporatize and to scale a business, you ought to put the right measures in place, and you ought to run the business like your business, because it's not, the business money is not your money.
It's not your money.
So in so doing, you also need to respect not only the money, but the assets, the talent in the business, the infrastructure in the business. You ought to run it like that. Because remember, in a layman's terms, a business is also like a separate legal entity. It's got its own character, its own personality that you ought to respect over and above yours. So if Bathu or Legends Barber has this personality, you can't make its personality and character yours.
No, you can't.
Otherwise, it becomes your thing. That is why we've got corporate identity. Because you need to give the business an identity and a character and a personality and values, right? Of its own, over and above yours.
Of its own. And I think it goes back to that whole point when you say, like, when the founder dies, then everything dies with it. Because once the founder is not there, everything just falls apart. Because the founder is a person that
100%.
says yes, no, each and every day.
100%, yeah.
But how are you able to do that? I mean, like, in terms of, I understand that, but it definitely comes in part, especially when it comes to leadership, because it speaks to the type of leader that you are, that you're willing to give the rein to someone else.
I mean, I think for me, I was quite fortunate to, we were all inspired by amazing people that have built great businesses that have outlived them, right? And those are legacy businesses. They've disrupted industries and so forth. So for me, I think I was fortunate to learn this early. That if I'm going to scale this business, corporatize it, and if I want to build it, in a way and in a manner that one day it will outlive me, right? I need to give it to people. There's no business that was built by one man. And those legacy businesses, right, that we love so much, that we admire so much. If you look at how they were built, they were never built by one person. So you get to a point whereby you need to entrust the leaders in the business and the professionals in the business to take it to the next level. So for me, I had that conversation with myself quite early, and I think that's one of the great contributors to Bathu's success. To
Bathu's success, yes. Tell me, in terms of people, because I know that with you and with me as well, there's people that actually failed you along the way, that actually stabbed you in the back along the way. There's always been people that has shifted you in yourself. Oh, how can this person do this to me? Take me through some of your stories, because people is the heart of the business.
One thing that I love about you, Sheldon, is that you and we are all Christians, but I love how you confidently, right, advocate for the Lord's way and let God lead in your life, and let God live in your business, right? Which is phenomenal,
Thank you.
So there's one prayer that you probably you should be ready when you pray. It's a prayer, that when you pray and ask God to reveal the right and the wrong people. That prayer, it could be good, but it could be hurting. The spirit of discernment. So
the spirit of discernment is true.
So when you pray and you ask for the spirit of discernment, you better be ready, because you will be shook. You will be shocked. Right, as to what the revelation says.
That's true.
So for me, I always say this, that when I started the business, I didn't start it for anything else but to be of service to my community, right? And it was about serving, people. So unfortunately, one thing that I got to also understand and accept in business is that people also have their own personal ambitions.
Yes.
Right? So you ought to always be ready for people to pursue their own ambitions.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're also duty bound to make sure that you get people with the right values as you, with the right qualities as you, and don't shy away from having the difficult conversations, right? Because that protects you and also protects the next person. So in the journey, I won't lie, and we had journey where scenarios and circumstances where we were let down, we were disappointed by people. But what do? We got this assignment and we need to punch above the weight. So one thing that also inspires me and keeps me going is that, and I think maybe I might share this with the audience, that the thing about purpose and an assignment, when you get it from God, right? You were alone when you got that, brother.
Yes.
so you are alone, right? Yeah. When God speaks to you, you are alone. So sometimes we spend too much time trying to explain to people what we had.
Yes.
And that thing takes so much energy from us. And sometimes it takes us away from the vision because we somewhat are looking for validation.
That's true.
And all you need to do is to have faith. Whether people are in it or out, right?
Yes.
You were alone when they gave it to you. And I'm sure God gave it to you knowing that with or without people, you will make it a success.
Yes.
So you always need to go back to why you started.
Yes.
And when you're going through those difficult times with people, remember that you were alone when this thing was given unto you.
Yeah, and I think that journey is sometimes more than enough for you to just keep on going.
100%.
Because when you look back as to where you come from and you're like, you know what, you can't fail now.
Yes.
It's no way possible because I have to keep on going.
Yeah. And that is why your why is bigger than everything.
Yes.
Because in unfavorable times, you ought to always go back to the why.
That's
the
true.
Why will be a guiding compass as to what is the next right step, right? Go back to your why. When you feel like you've hit a stumbling block and you can't, move forward and move ahead, go back to your why.
What do you do during that moment, especially when you rediscover your why? Is there what do you do in those moments? Is there like something that you practically do to say, this is what I'm doing to just get my mind in the right space?
Yeah, so for me, I normally get, how do I put this? I normally get my next play or my next move when I'm away from, and away, what I mean is like in physical form, my presence. I'm not present in the business, and I'm away and I'm traveling, and I get that a lot when I'm traveling.
Yes.
And tell you what, when I come back, I'll know exactly what to do.
Know exactly. What
so normally I'm not a person who reacts a lot.
Yes.
I don't react to disagreements immediately. I don't react to conflict. I don't react to competition.
But you know what? I actually like that about you so much because you know what? That actually tells me that your EQ is on another level.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to be, if you're willing to control your tongue in the heat of the battle.
Yep. Yep.
And it tells me that, you know what, your EQ is, because you know exactly that when things happen, you know what to say and what to do.
Thank you, man. Yeah, so I often try not to react to anything. Most of the things I don't react to, right? I rather than go on that trip that I'm telling you about, think about it, pray about it, and tell you what, when I come back, I'll know exactly what to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful. That's really powerful. So powerful. And like just looking at this journey, because if you're looking at, we go through so many things that we face on a daily basis. I mean, it takes a special creature to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And it takes somebody really special to thrive in difficult circumstances as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've also shown that it's possible for many other guys out there. What's that feeling like today, sitting here today? How does it feel like?
It's it's very humbling to put it in that way because, you know, and I always say this, when I started the business, like I started it because I wanted to create impact and be of service to my community, right? And I did not start it to be known or to be a role model to anyone, to be a point of light. And I just started it to just create that impact. But it's so humbling how, you know, people and our clients and the communities have received the business.
Yes.
And have received the vision and have received, you know, our values as a business, right? So it goes to show that, you know, collectively, we as a people, we can actually build, you know, a greater thing, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I look at it and go like, geez, this is so incredible. And I'm so humbled because, I mean, I remember the time, Sheldon, my biggest dream, right? When I started Bathu, I was stealing from the hood of my car.
Yes.
I was like, you know, boy, I was telling my friend, see if we can have one day, have 5 stores.
Yes.
And employ like 30 people. Jeez, man, that would be big. Imagine that. Little did I know what I carried and what this vision pays. So when today, like to your question, I then think to myself, what more?
What more? Yes.
Because am I 5% into the vision?
Yes.
Am I 1.3% in?
What's happening?
Am I 50% in?
Yes.
What more is there? Because there was a time when I thought to myself,
that
5 stores,
yes,
30 people. Oh, my brother, I'm done. I'm out. I've killed it, you know? So now I look at the business with 500 people, you know, and 30 plus stores, and I'm like, how many more do we still have to go?
How many more do you still have to go? Yes,
so it's humbling in that sense that, you know, and inspiring to myself too, to keep going.
To keep going.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is like when you look at the capacity of what you are capable of doing. And I mean, like this year, you celebrated 10 years.
Yes.
Imagine another 10 years from now.
10 years from now. Exactly. So I always sit here and look at it from that perspective and with that context.
Yeah, but you know the thing is like most of people think it's overnight success, and it's true what you were talking about, the compound effect, because the compound effect is basically that little that you do that nobody sees today. You understand? We were talking about the journey of basically going on the weight loss journey, and basically you step on the scale and it's like, you know, just nothing happening, right? You know, I mean, like tomorrow you step on the scale again, you ask yourself, now, I mean, I'm eating right, I'm exercising, and then it's either you can do 2 things. Maybe a few weeks later, it's either you can do 2 things. Either you can go and relapse, or you can say, you know what, I'm still going to continue and see where this thing takes me.
Absolutely. And I think in that context, that's what entrepreneurship is about, right? Showing up all the time, right? Whether there's results today, or no results, you know, it's so important to always show up. It's so important to always put in the work. In favorable and unfavorable times, you always need to put in the work, you know, because that's what builds greatness. It's the process that I was talking about, that a lot of people like the idea of greatness and what it looks like, you know, but hate the idea of risk, you know. So you ought to put in, you know, work on a daily, and before you know it, we are here, right? And people look at it and say it looks like it was overnight success. And to further contextualize that, you know, I always tell the team that one of our strategies, we believe in balancing hardware and software of the business, right? So there is a lot of work that goes into the software over and above the hardware, which is the stores that you see, the products, you know, the warehouses and the infrastructure that we put in place, right? That's the hardware of the business.
You never think about it.
Yeah, but there's also a software that is intangible that people don't see. You know, and that is where, you know, the heart of the business is at, and that's what makes the business to be sustainable, right? So I get into meetings, Sheldon, and kid you not, 2-hour meetings. Some are technical, very technical. But I don't even talk about shoes. I don't even talk about designs. I don't even talk about retail and distribution. It's all soft and technical matters. And they're so important because some of them are regulations, some of them are compliance. That at the heart of the business. And if you don't get them, if you don't get to solve those matters, or you don't bring about a solution into the software and the technical matters,
yes,
your business won't survive.
It won't survive.
But then people look at it, they say, oh, this guy just gets a shoe and puts it in store and makes profit.
Yes.
But brother, I sit in meetings, I don't even talk about shoes.
Yes. Yes. And it's not about shoes anymore.
It's not about shoes anymore.
And it's much more about what happens behind the scenes.
Yes. Behind
the scenes, and making that product actually to be what it is.
Absolutely.
And yes, sir. And if you think it's a skill set that you acquire along the way
100%.
to actually be able to have that type of intelligence to actually have those conversations. Because the greatest leaders that I see now there, I mean, like, are leaders that purely understand what takes place within their business, and from the human element up until finance, up until software, up until operations, they understand exactly how it works.
Let me tell you something. You said something so interesting. You know, I always say this. To start a business, my brother, you know, it requires two things.
Yes.
Both greed and intellect.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people who have greed.
Yes.
I mean, I sold perfumes door to door.
Yeah.
You start setting a stoop in El Reno. There's the next guy in a traffic light who can just buy things from fruit and veg. I don't know what market, and add a markup and sit at the traffic light.
Yes.
And sell the fruits. Yes. Right. There could be a guy who sells in CBD in Joburg, sells accessories. Yes. Right. And only a few people have greed.
Yes.
And you know, to be honest, a lot of people do have greed.
Yes.
Right. But to build a business, my brother, to start it, to scale it, to corporatize it,
yes,
to sustain the business,
yes,
requires both greed and intellect.
Yeah.
So you ought to have both,
yes,
right? And if you don't have one, get someone and people who have the other to complement it. If you don't have greed, then get people who have greed in the business.
Wow.
If you don't have intellect, then get people who have intellect in the business.
Wow.
You cannot run and sustain a business with greed alone.
No, you can't.
And you cannot run and sustain the business with intellect alone. So you need both.
Yeah.
And once you understand what level of greed you have and where you deploy it in the business,
yes,
what level of intellect you have and where you deploy it in the business,
yes,
and wherever you can't deploy it,
yes,
you get people to do that.
Yes.
And that's how you ought to build these amazing businesses.
Yeah.
So if you look at all these businesses from the JSE, you know, and London Stock Exchange of this world, you know, they were started probably by greed.
Yeah.
I mean, the legendary Steve Jobs started in the garage. That's greed, right?
Yes.
But to innovate and to be ahead of the curve, it required intellect.
Yeah, that's true.
For the business to be what it has become today.
Yes.
Right? So I believe in that.
And many of the times, as founders, we don't grow to that level of intellect.
Sure.
Let's be honest, because you think that what got you here will take you there. And it might not be the case.
It might not be. Oftentimes it's not the case, actually.
Yeah, because you're still running it like a spaza shop that you had back then. Not understanding that the business now is turned over in millions of rands, but you're still treating the people or basically the business like it's
a tuck shop.
Yeah, it's a tuck shop.
Yeah, and you can't do that. You know, earlier on we spoke about the importance of governance in a business, the importance of building a structure, the importance of skill set, you know?
Yes.
And you know, I don't know, man, I really, one of my biggest passions is to build institutions.
Yes.
And corporates.
Yes.
I think I just love commerce. I mean, I studied commerce, but I just like the idea of how commerce works and how institutions and corporates are built.
Yes.
Right? So I really like the idea of just a corporate and like just an amazing institution that was built. Especially, and the reason, the passion for that is that I always look at the communities that we come from, like that general dealer concept.
Yes.
And it has always fascinated me that we don't have a lot of corporates that are even JSE listed that started from our community.
Yes.
So I've always taken upon myself to say, man, something is missing. So that's where my passion comes from. And in that, you know, it's understanding that, to your point, you might start with greed and you might start with, you know, this purpose and do certain things well. But the business scales and gets to a point whereby it needs a different approach, different leadership, different skill set to go to the next level. I mean, there's 4 cycles of a business. It's a startup. You start up, however way you start, and then you go through growth, you go through maturity, and then you go through decline. In all those 4 phases, you always need different intellect and different grit.
Different, yes. Yeah. Yes, because that's so true. Because if you look at it, the same people that has been with the journey during that space in time is not necessarily the same people that's going to take you to the next level.
Yes.
And you need a different mindset, you need a different thinking. Absolutely. And I think that's where human capital comes into play, because you need to get those right resources.
100%.
How important is it for you as an entrepreneur to actually have the right mentors in your corner?
It's so important, it's so important in the sense that, you realize that when you have access to great mentors and great people in your corner who want you to win, how easy you can actually solve some matters. They almost become a point of light, right? And they guide your vision. There's certain things through network that you can do easily, with the right people, right? But also, I think at the bottom of it, right, you also need to have a teachable spirit.
That's so true.
I think a lot of people have people who care about them and who want them to win, but they just don't have teachable spirit. Egos come to play. They make it about themselves, and sometimes it's so good to take a no and just to listen. And sometimes maybe you don't have to do it, but just listen.
Just listen
and go think about it. Have a teachable spirit, because there's a lot of people who mean well, and I know that now in where we live, there's a few people who are like that, but trust me, there's people who really mean well.
Yes.
And you ought to have a teachable spirit. And sometimes, the biggest lessons don't even come from the people who seems to be successful. It comes from when you go to Eldos today.
Yeah.
There could be an uncle there in the corner who says, take that in and think about it and try to apply, your own understanding, into that thing. And egos have killed a lot of businesses, brother.
Yeah.
Egos have killed a lot of leaders. Egos have killed a lot of potential. Egos have killed a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Just have a teachable spirit.
I love that. I love that. There's a saying that I heard the other day that says, the way up is down and the way down is up. And it goes back to the verse that says, whoever humbles himself will be exalted, and whoever exalts himself will be humbled.
Amen.
Humility is present in everything that we do.
Yep.
And if you're unable to humble yourself in any situation, you are bound to face certain things that people don't want you to succeed.
100%.
And you find it so many times, whether it's in business, whether it's in wherever you go, it's like people are coming against you because they can see that you think you're the guy.
You think you're the guy.
You think you're the guy, and you think you arrived.
Absolutely. Earlier on I gave this example about service, right? So when you go to the coffee shop and the coffee is horrible, but the waits are so great in their service, chances are you would go back, to that coffee shop and that spot and buy the coffee, right?
Yes.
Until it tastes nice, right?
Yes.
But because of that experience,
yes,
right, the waiter will never forget also how you made them feel.
Yes.
And then you will also not forget how the waiter made you feel.
Made you feel, yes.
And that is the core principles of humility and Ubuntu. So people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yes.
You walk in the room
yes.
and you make people feel offish or sad, they will remember that.
They will remember that.
If you walk into a room and then you inspire people,
yes.
and they look at you and you ignite something in them,
yes.
Or you off service, they will never forget that. And I think that is the core principles of who we are and we're supposed to be as human beings. The core principles of Ubuntu and humility.
Yeah,
we can build a better society.
No, that's so true.
If people can, abide by those principles
yes.
and we trade from those principles.
Yes.
We build relationships from those principles. We can be a better country, better society, and we can have better people living in the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because everyone is attracted to that attitude that you possess.
Yes.
So if you have that attitude to not wanting to walk into a room and take the joy from somebody else, but say, you know what, let me put a smile on your face. Let me give you the joy.
The joy.
And sometimes we tend to just live with the mindset, and it goes back to the service that you were talking about. It's literally, it's being able to sacrifice yourself for the next person.
100%. 100%. It's that. Yeah.
Yeah, so powerful. Nah, that's so powerful.
Thank you, brother.
There's just something that I just want to share as well. And you know, on this podcast, I think there's so many entrepreneurs that watches these shows and watches these episodes, and they look at role models like yourself. You understand? That says, you know, I want to be in a position one day to live and be a leader like Theo.
Sure.
And the lessons that you're actually sharing is those type of lessons.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the business lessons in integral. It's basically how you live your life.
100%. 100%. You know, and I think, you know, at the core of everything else, as human beings, we creatures of emotions and so forth. So it's very important to try as much as you can actually to be authentic, you know, because when you're authentic, it's really unbelievable how many people you can connect with. Yeah. And I think sometimes, I don't know, but sometimes I get the feeling that people think that maybe because the work that we do, we are immortal or we are not human. And we can relate with some of the experiences, and we do, you know, and we do. And that is why for me, I always, brother, try and I enjoy this kind of interactions where we connect from a human being point of view.
Yes.
Because before the leaders that we are, before the businesses that we work for, we are human beings before anything. Before the accolades, we are human beings before anything. So I always try to connect with people from a human level before anything, you know. So I always strive for that.
Yeah, I think and many of the times we forget it because you see this happen, especially with up and coming entrepreneurs. When they approach you, they're like, you know, come I pitch my idea. Come I tell you exactly what I do. Come here. and I definitely understand that the need is there. But if you approach it from a different standpoint, you'll be able to attract much more towards you.
Absolutely. You know?
More.
Always walk into a room, and I think this is to the leaders or to the budding entrepreneurs. It's, you know, it's always best to walk into the room as yourself.
Yes.
Not as anyone else, but as your authentic self.
Yeah.
And I think you get the best out of that. You get the best when you interact with people from a point of authenticity and being human enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people get to realize who you are. And it's not, leave the accolades alone. Although there's so many accolades behind us now. I mean, there's so many things, but all of these things are achieved by somebody that has shown that, you know what, you have to be able to put people above profit.
Absolutely.
I think with that being said, my brother, I'm almost done with the haircut. I just want you to share with me quickly, what is your favorite or top 3 favorite books that you like? You know what?
Yeah.
If any youngsters should read this top 3 favorite books right now, and what's the lessons out of it?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think I like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, so that is, I read that book many years ago. I still reference the lessons, you know, about wealth and richness. Actually, basically the rents and cents conversation that he spoke about, it sums up that as to how to grow your rents and cents. And I like Good to Great. Jim Collins.
Jim Collins, yes.
I love that book because like I said, I'm very passionate about corporates. I'm very passionate about building institutions, and I'm fascinated by how do businesses move from good to great and become the great institutions that we know that contribute positively to the globe,
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, this is actually a lot of people don't like it because they say it's such a manipulative book. But for the 8 laws of power.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
exactly that. That's like one of the top 3. That's like one of my top 3 favorite books as well. Yeah,
awesome.
I can tell you exactly the principles in those books.
Yes,
and I think for the 8 laws of power, the first law, never outshine your master.
Never outshine your master. Never outshine your master. Yeah, never outshine your master. In that's such a powerful law.
Yeah.
You can apply it in so many ways, and I think to bring it home, however way you want to contextualize it, it's like, your parents are still alive, right?
Yes.
And you're successful.
Yes.
Like getting home and trying to run the household when your father is there. It will beat you up. You know what I mean? It will get so angry.
Yes.
So you always need to sort of acknowledge, I think I would call it whoever it is, like the excellencies and the leaders before you in everything all that you do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's powerful. Yeah. That's powerful. And those are timeless books, huh?
Yeah.
Those books are still to be read by the next generation, the next generation, and people will still be talking about those books today.
For sure.
When is your book coming out?
I don't know. Maybe I still have maybe 10 more years to go. I don't know.
No, but I think it's time, huh? I think it's time. I definitely think it's time.
I get those requests quite a lot. Quite a lot, yeah.
No, I definitely think it's time. I think it's time that you just share a snippet of your story because it even if it's not for yourself, but you're doing it for the next person out there. Yeah, I know the thing is like when the guys are retired, then they only start writing the books and then they only start sharing the stories. But how amazing it will be to actually share it with the people that's out there.
100%. No, it's coming.
It's coming, huh? It's coming. There we go. There we go. So you heard it here. It's definitely coming. I'm just going to go over here quickly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Okay. So I think we are good. Just in closing, I think. Just in closing, it's always good to just hear 2 things. I think first and foremost is that just the one thing that somebody told you, or one line that somebody told you that changed your life forever. And I think that's the one thing that I want to find out from is like, is there somebody that just told you this thing is like, that made sense to me. And the second thing is that for the next person that will be sitting on this chair, what question do you have for them that will be anyone? I don't know who's going to be the next person, but for the next person that will be sitting in the chair, do you have a question for them?
I wish I knew who was the person so that I can tailor the question, But I think the one thing that changed my life, right, was from my late dad.
Okay.
And he once told me this, that never have an emotional relationship with money.
Oof.
Rather have an intellectual relationship with money.
Oof.
Because when you have an emotional relationship with money, when you lose 10 rand, you will lament and cry for the loss. But when your relationship is intellectual, you will think about how to make 20 rand or the next 10 rand.
That's powerful.
So that changed my life and how I look at business and my personal finances, forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Never have an emotional attachment to money.
Yeah, never. It will hurt you.
Yes.
But money will hurt you, brother.
Yes.
Big time.
Because if you value yourself based on your bank balance, then it will definitely then you will always have somebody having more than you.
100%.
Always have somebody but that's so powerful. That's
100%.
so powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the question, are you doing enough?
That's powerful. You heard it. Okay, so the next founder, CEO, that's going to be sitting on this chair, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? I love that because it can be doing enough in any which way or form.
100%.
But are you doing enough? Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and thank you very much for tuning into the Founders Chair. This has been such an amazing conversation by a multi-award-winning entrepreneur of note, somebody that has trailblazed the space for us as entrepreneurs. And we just want to say thank you very much, Theo, for being part of today's show, and hope you enjoyed it because I enjoyed it as much. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See you next time.